Hello everyone, Mrs. Hanvey here. We're going to solve quadratics using the quadratic formula. So if you don't remember the quadratic formula, it's right over here. It's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so before we can make sure that we solve the quadratic formula, we have to make sure our quadratic is in standard form. So remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So the key is you have to make sure we have the squared in front, the plain x in the middle, and the constant at the end, and they must be equal to 0. So that's key. And so you can see it's set equal to 0, and it goes the highest power to the lowest power. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just say what our a is. Remember, your a is the number in front of the x squared, and we know there's a 1 there. Our b is going to be the number in front of the plain x, and so it's going to be 5. And make sure you look at your signs. This is a positive, so we know this is going to be a positive 5, but if it happened to be a negative, you would make sure you put a negative there. And then our c is going to be 4. And so we have the quadratic formula here, but we're just going to replace the letters B, A, and C with parentheses. So we know we have to plug something in there. We have to plug in numbers. So we're going to put the B, which we know is 5, in that first parentheses and that second parentheses. So we're going to put 5 here, 5 there. And then the A is going to go after the 4, the negative 4, and at the bottom. So we're going to put a 1 and a 1. And now we're going to do our C. The C is the one at the very last, and that's going to be a 4. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead now and simplify this. In order to simplify this, I always do inside of that square root first. So I'm going to square it, and then I'm going to multiply these numbers together. So this is just going to be a negative 5 because we only have one negative. 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 1 times 4 is 16 all over 2 times 1 is 2. All right, now we're still going to simplify in the square root. That square root is 25 minus 16. So that is going to be a 9 over 2. And since 9 is a perfect square, we can actually take the square root of 9. We know that the square root of 9 is just 3. So I'm going to write it here. X equals negative 5 plus or minus 3 over 2. Remember, the square root of 9 is just 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. So do not put a square root here. Some people make that mistake. All right, so we're going to have two answers. We have a plus or minus, so we're going to write x equals negative 5 plus 3 over 2. And then we're going to have x equals negative 5 minus 3 over 2. And we're going to go ahead and simplify those. Just simplify the top. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2 over 2. It's going to be negative 1. And then negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. So our answers to this is going to be negative 1 and negative 4. Notice most of the time when we have a quadratic, typically we have two answers, and here we do. All right, so this is an Algebra 1 example, so hopefully it was just kind of a review. We're going to kick it up a notch, and example 2 and 3 is going to be more of our Algebra 2 type problems. So watch the next video for the Algebra 2 type problems.